So I'm Cobus Bothma. I'm Director of Applied Research at Peters & Fox, an architectural company. We have 9 offices across the world. Our big office is in New York. I'm from the London office, where we do a lot of the development work as well, but we have, of course, collaborating between the offices. The one big thing about our office, well, actually the 2 big things about our office, the one is that we run all our 9 offices as one office. So we typically work on a project from 2 or 3 locations in the world at the same time. So London, New York, working together on one project, all in the cloud, all real time. And the second thing is that we don't have dedicated teams to do visualization and computation. So we try and train our designers to use the tool sets that we offer them, the hardware and the software, to be able to compute and render and fabricate and design and present the best they can and the best they should. So the part of what I do is I work with our digital practice team that deploys and trains these guys, and I try to see the effect of new technologies and industries that we can kind of converge into the process to get the designers to be more capable in doing what they need to do. So in that, the talk I gave today was very interesting, and it was a very raw look at how we use an advanced rendering application like V-Ray during the design process. And it is important to note that I wanted to show what the designers are doing with it and not the high-end visualization guys. So we were not focusing on the money shots or the golden renders or the moody shots and so forth. We were trying to focus on how they can take their design or instruction or concept of design from a model to a high quality rendering explaining what they're trying to do with the space or the building or the facade. So as I mentioned, I think there's 2 aspects to it, is how quickly they can get the model to the render process, and the second one is how quick they can get the render to happen, how quick they can render. And this is also why we are working with V-Ray still. I mean, there are many real-time applications that are great, but we feel that their quality is sometimes okay, but sometimes it's just a little few years ago, and V-Ray is really up to speed. It's really the latest capabilities of it, and you can see it in the markets that they're involved with, and that's why we're pushing it. So what we're doing now is building workflows that are faster for rendering, especially in the Rhino environment, where we're working V-Ray in Grasshopper. So we're trying to link the computational side of it and the parametric side of it. Before baking the model in Rhino and putting it into a render system, we render it straight from the computational tool. And that is a huge time saver, not only from the speed or the process of converting the model, but also just in terms of the way we can iterate variations. So we can actually render overnight thousands of images, where before we had to bake them and load them and render them. Now the Grasshopper will just process the geometry, and V-Ray will pick it up in Grasshopper and render the frames as they go along. So that's a big saver. The other aspect is, of course, we are involved with VR, and we're involved with AR through the HoloLens and AR Kit and so forth. And a lot of the work we do on the AR side specific, because it's on the mobile device, is the optimization of geometry. So that typically takes about 3/4 of the process of getting a design model into an AR for the team or the client. Now with V-Ray in Unreal Engine, we're finding that we can kind of skip a big part of that for 2 reasons. It's number one, we can do light baking inside Unreal Engine, so it saves us the time of unwrapping and baking everything in Max and taking it to the authoring application. And secondly, we can stream the pixels from Unreal Engine. So we can actually stream the geometry from inside Unreal Engine that's heavy or too heavy to run on mobile devices to the mobile device, making all the heavy work on the workstation. And this is something we're really excited about currently in our local area and wider area networks. But of course, with the rolling out of 5G, we can see that we can probably take really large-scale models in very lightweight devices onto site for the clients to look at, something we could never do before. So the whole optimization process is sort of cut through the V-Ray rendering inside the Unreal Engine, creating us the light quality, and then streaming the pixels through to the lightweight devices. So, where's visualization going in the future? Yes. Real time for sure. Real time is the big thing that's going to be pushing, and we can see it with everything people are doing. Currently, we work very closely with hardware partners like NVIDIA, and we're looking at how the technology is emerging. This is kind of slice and CG happening right now at the moment. There's the before real-time racing and what's happening now with real-time ray tracing. It is such a new concept and such a different concept than before that many of the software and also the hardware guys are trying to grapple the development of the applications for this. But we can see people like Chaos being very active on the forefront and working very closely to make sure that they show the capabilities of this. And I think I showed in my talk already just the difference between the previous iteration of the NVIDIA GPU versus the current iteration of GPU with V-Ray, and the increases that V-Ray has added in rendering speeds, which is basically twice as fast. Right? This is not even V-Ray using real-time technology to full extent. So definitely real-time is the thing in the future, and being able to go from the model into something that is immersive or collaborative immediately is important. And this is why we are really keen on and continue to test Project Lavina, because in our workflow we're running V-Ray as render systems and render engines. That complete setup that we do anyway, because we have to produce these images and it's iterative through Grasshopper, for example, we can write as a V-Ray scene and immediately have the same quality in real time. Right? Maybe not exactly the frame rate of VR, but definitely good enough frame rate for screen, for sure. And this is one of the really interesting development tracks in Chaos that we are following. So the other aspect, of course, of that is that, and I think I'm trying to show it there, we're not too concerned about the poly count. This is again something with real-time ray tracing. With rasterization, you have to be concerned about poly count, especially if you have to render real-time. With real-time ray tracing, it's not too concerned. I mean, we saw demos that Porsche did, for example, and I spoke to the guys, and taking it from 40 to 10 million polygons made half a frame or a frame per second difference. The size of the model is not the concern anymore, which is really great, because we do master plans and we work in all the big cities in the world. And imagine visualizing the city like we see it around us in real time and in high quality with our designs, with all the reflections, with all the people. I mean, that's where we're heading towards, right? And this is what Chaos is really pushing right now, and I'm very excited about it. So.